Welcome, everyone. We call the Olympic and Paralympic Exploratory Committee to order. And we welcome those who are joining us, board members, the press, and other interested parties. I'm going to first start with turning some time to Fraser Bullock, my co-chair, to begin our meeting. And I'm going to turn his mic on, I hope.
Thank you, President Niederhauser. Welcome, everyone. I'd like to recognize those on the stand, beginning with our great Senate President, President Niederhauser, Mayor Jackie Biskupski, who has been helping lead this effort, and the governor should be joining us shortly. Jeff Robbins, who is the CEO of the Utah Sports Commission. And then we have up here with us many of our board members, and we appreciate their work and attendance.
And may I just inject, Fraser, that the speakers had an emergency come up and he's not going to be able to make it, but he wanted me to send a message that he is sad that he's going to miss, but he is 110% in support of what we're doing today.
Perfect, thank you. And so we have our board members here representing different constituency group, athletes, business, and we're grateful for their work. And then we also have many members of the committee who did the work to prepare the report. If you just stand for a moment to be recognized, we thank you for your work. So that's you, Colin, and Andy, and countless hours, hundreds of hours went into this report. Opening ceremonies is in 2 days in Pyeongchang. Yes. The world is so excited. And I remember back 16 years, 2 days before our opening ceremonies, and you'd think we'd be nervous, but we were calm, we were excited, because we had a great team and we were ready. And what a games they were back in 2002. So I'd like to remind everybody of the charter of this Olympic/Paralympic Exploratory Committee. The charter is this: determine if Salt Lake City, Utah, should host or should pursue a bid for hosting Winter Olympics/Paralympic Games with a focus on 2030. The report is now complete. It is 140 pages, and this just came off my printer, but we will print really beautiful copies. It's a beautiful document that many hours have gone into, and it contains a great deal of Olympic expertise. This report was sent to this board last Thursday, and we received their comments through midday Monday. In fact, Dave Layton, I think he read every word of the document, and he sent us a fully marked up document. So we appreciate the work of our group. It's just fantastic. Yeah, it made a little more work for us, but that's okay. So we'd like to thank everybody for doing that. What we did with this report was we examined the feasibility of hosting another Olympic and Paralympic Games from every angle. The most important determining factor was relative to the budget, because when you see Olympic Games around the world, they spend a lot of money, they lose a lot of money, and they leave a lot of debt behind. In this case, we wanted to do something different. In fact, see if it's possible to not only break even, but produce a surplus. So through our work, and at our last meeting, we showed that we have a budget of $1.353 billion, and we can achieve, we believe, break even or better with that budget. And that contemplates a lot of cost reduction from last time because of the infrastructure that's in place, the experienced team that's in place. So based on this work, this report gives to the board and our political leaders the recommendation to move forward in terms of hosting another Olympic Winter Games. And you'll hear shortly from our political leaders relative to that suggestion or recommendation. We're in an interesting time right now regarding the process of the USOC and the process of the IOC to select future host cities. We're focused on 2030 because Los Angeles is hosting 2028. And the USOC has made it very clear they're interested in 2030. So we are as well. Yet the current process is for 2026. We believe we should participate in this 2026 process since there's a potential of a dual award of 26 and 30, and we need to be part of that process if that were to happen. The challenge is that this current process outlines that the U.S. Olympic Committee should make a selection of its candidate by March 31st, just next month. And can it do so when its focus is on the Olympics right now? That's hard to do. So we have some moving parts here, and there are three potential outcomes in this current process. One, the USOC puts forward a candidate city, hopefully Salt Lake City, by March 31st. Two, the USOC does not put forward a candidate city, and in that case decides to pursue 2030. We would still gear up and look at that. But there's some flexibility that we're hearing from Korea right now regarding the deadlines and the processes, and so we need to get over there and find out what the real process could be, and can we work through this March 31st date to participate. I'll be in Korea soon and have meetings with USOC and IOC officials to discuss these issues. For this Olympic Exploratory Committee, the goal remains 2030. Whether through a 2026 process or a 2030 process, the report recommends to our public officials a strong endorsement to move ahead. Now at this point, I'd like to turn it over to my co-chair, Jeff Robbins, who really built the Utah Sports Commission from nothing, from scratch, to its great organization it is today.
Thank you, Fraser. Jeff, press that button. There you go.
Well, first of all, welcome. Thanks to everybody that put so much time and effort into this. There were even this morning things going on in terms of quick changes and people doing things. So it was a Herculean task. Now, Fraser's had hundreds of hours. I kind of took my pencil out and I looked at, what do I think I worked? And then tried to think about what everybody else worked. And Fraser, I think it's probably thousands of hours. And volunteer hours that were put on to make this great report. So I want to personally thank everybody for all their effort. It truly was a terrific effort. And also our public officials. To have the mayor, to have the governor, who's a little under the weather and he's running a little bit late, but he will be here supporting this effort. They've been great supporters of sports, great supporters of their city, of course the state. We couldn't do it without them. Our co-chair, President Niederhauser, has done tremendous things up here and helped with sports. And then, of course, the speaker who is not here. So we can't thank our public officials enough for all of their support. We had a poll, and we've mentioned it in some of the meetings, that 89% of Utah's citizens approved and wanted us to go after another Olympics. Now, that's a mandate. Now, we've talked before about if we did it now with the Olympics going, we think it probably would have been higher. I think it would have been in the 90s. We chose not to do that because we thought it would be in the 90s, and people may discount that survey thinking, wow, that's really high. So the citizens for the state of Utah are really anxious to do that. The economic impact, and Natalie and her team up at the University of Utah and Kim Gardner did a great job. They actually said we had estimates here of about $5.5 billion in 2002 and a study done. Well, they came back and said, yeah, it was actually more like $6.5 billion. So the economic impact that was found in this study. So going through this process, I think it has given us a lot of data. It's given us a lot of information to work for. It's not emotion. It's not, do we all want to? I think we all want to. Anybody here that doesn't want to bid again? So the emotion sometimes will drive our desire to do things, but our task was to put the data on paper, look at all of the key steps that you'll see in the report, and see if we're ready, willing, and able. So the president will read those recommendations and talk about them in a little more detail. Now, one note, there will be a copy of the document in its entirety going live at about 10:30. There are two websites that will have it, the Utah Sports Commission's website, the utahsportscommission.com, and the Olympic Legacy's website, olympiclegacyfoundation.com, ULF, right, Colin? And so both of those sites will have a digital version of this document that you can download. So again, thanks for coming. It was a lot of work a lot of great effort. Frazier, I have a coat. It's not as nice as yours. But it's the same Roots coat. It's got leather sleeves. It doesn't have all leather. I almost wore that today, but I wear casual clothes so much. I thought I should dress up in a suit. So anyways, now next on the agenda is supposed to be the governor. He's obviously not here. So maybe we can move into the mayor and introduce the mayor. I've already introduced her a bit, but I've known the mayor for 10 or 12 years probably. Boy, back in the mid-2000s, huh? And she always was a great supporter of sports and the Olympics back then. She served on a couple of the committees, the appropriation committees that oversaw our funding, and she's always been a tremendous support. She's on our Sports Commission Executive Committee, and so, again, we couldn't thank her enough for all her hard work and support and being part of this process. Now, they were very active in this process, so we appreciate that. So, Mayor, why don't I turn the time over to you?
Great, thank you. So, first of all, thank you for being here. I'm very excited about this opportunity that we have before us. And if you recall, we had an immensely successful Olympics here in Utah and a rich cultural experience that came with that, and how exciting it was for everyone who experienced it. Yesterday, I had the tremendous opportunity to send off part of our ski team at the airport as they headed off to South Korea to chase their dreams and those medals. And that was a very exciting moment for me and a rich experience for all of us to just talk about what they have been through and what they are hoping to accomplish in South Korea. So very exciting. I brought my coat today. I had to dig it out. It was very fond memories for me to think about what it was like to put that coat on the first time in 2002, invite my family out here from Idaho and Minnesota to come and experience the games with me. And we went and did our part. We went to the biathlon. We did women's hockey. We were doing the men's moguls. We did the luge, which, by the way, goes by very fast. So that was interesting, but very fun. And short track, speed skating, which was also very cool. So today, I'm turning my eyes to the men and the women in South Korea and wishing them well and wishing the city of Pyeongchang good luck in hosting the games. We hope they are truly successful. And like so many of the people around this room, we are very focused on the work that has gone into this. When we commissioned this exploratory committee back in October, I expressed my pride on behalf of all the residents of Salt Lake City in our continuing endeavor to be a part of the Olympic family. And today, as you see in the report that is being handed out, you will see that we have done due diligence, that this committee and all of your hard work that you have done to make recommendations to the city to host these games again is thorough and well received by me as mayor. And I know when this report goes before the Salt Lake City Council, they will be thrilled to see the work that has been done as well. I want to make sure that as mayor of the Olympic City, that we truly do cheer on Pyeongchang as they prepare and host our Olympic Games this year. We are also excited about Los Angeles hosting the 2028 Games, and we want them to be hugely successful in their endeavor. We value our long-standing relationship with the International Olympic Committee and the USOC, and we are eager to work with them as we consider a potential future bid. Salt Lake City is one of the most recent cities to host the Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games. We have carefully evaluated our situation and made a detailed report and accounting of our ability to host the games again. And I am very excited and confident that the work that has been done to lay the groundwork for a potential another bid is what we needed to get off the ground to really pursue yet another extraordinary experience for Salt Lake City, for the Olympic family, and for the state of Utah. And I look forward to potentially getting a new coat. So, thank you.
Welcome, Governor.
Thank you, President.
All right, should we go back to the governor? Governor, welcome.
Yeah, what's going on?
I don't know. I hear a little meeting in here, huh? So we just had the mayor give a little intro and talk about her perspective of the Olympic Exploratory Report and the committee that you all commissioned and give some input. So we're thrilled to have you here. There's nobody that's been more supportive of this effort than the governor. And again, as I always say, he's a tremendous supporter of sport. Can almost be any sport. Geez, it can even be action sports and nitro games. And so it's been great working with him and having him in a leadership role. So we're going to turn some time over to you to make a few comments and do the resolution.
Well, thank you, Jeff. And again, I'm honored to be here with all of you. Utah is doing very well, you know, certainly in comparison to other states, other parts of the world. And we are constantly asking, why? What's the secret of our success? And the answer is really, we have wonderful people who give of their time and their talent, step up. They see issues and problems that need solving, and they say, I've got an idea, let me help, and they roll up their sleeves and go to work. That's what's happened here in this particular instance today. And again, I appreciate the Olympic and Paralympic Exploratory co-chairs that we've had with Frazier and Jeff and Senate President Niederhauser. Again, many others are on the committee, and the list is long and lengthy, and their expertise and their backgrounds and biographical sketches are impressive just to read. So I appreciate the fact that many people have come to work on this and come together to get us this report. And the report affirms what we've always kind of believed, that we are in a great, tremendous position to host the Winter Olympics again. It's something that's kind of intuitive to us. We did it before, maybe the best Winter Olympic Games ever in the history of Olympic sport. So if we did it once, we could certainly do it twice, right? But it's nice to have an analysis and a thorough review to make sure that our intuitions are in fact based on some good study and good data. And so I appreciate the work of those on the Exploratory Committee and the report that affirms that. And what it affirms is that Utah is ready, able, willing to in fact host a future Winter Olympics game. And it also confirms what we've always thought with our legacy aspect when we did the Olympics in 2002, to make sure that we had venues that were maintained and kept up. So we would maybe have the opportunity to come back and host again. When you look at our venues, and is there any place more conveniently located than Salt Lake International Airport and the Wasatch Front here and our ski resorts and our venues? I mean, we have hotels. It's just, there's no better place in the world. I don't think there is a better place in the world to host the Winter Olympics than right here in Salt Lake City as the host city. And so I appreciate the strategy from before. I saw Lane Beatty here a little earlier today, and others that were involved, I know Spence Eccles and others were involved in this issue way back when. But the vision of being ready to do it again was something that we ought to be thankful for, because we are in a good position. I know Speaker Hughes, I don't see Speaker here, but he talks away we have some anyway costs. I think how he says it. We need to spruce up the venues anyway. And we might as well do it with an eye towards seeing if we can't host the 2026, 24, 28 Winter Olympics. So again, I thank everybody that's put us in this great position. So again, I also want to thank Jeff. You know, we have slogans, Life Elevated, which is not just a slogan, it's a lifestyle. But we're also known as Utah, the state of sport. And that's a branding that's taken place over a number of years. It started back with Al Mansell and our sports commission back in the day, and a visionary senator helped start this, and Jeff's taken it and run with it. But we are the state of sport. This is where people come to recreate in all of its different forms, with or without a ball. You know, it's extreme sports, hiking, camping, fishing, outdoor recreation. But I appreciate the work. And that's as I say, you know, I've always talked about Team Utah. It really is all of us coming together, working together that makes this work. So Let me just, if I can, read to you this resolution. It's a concurrent resolution which was unanimously approved by the 2018 Utah Legislature. I'll just read it. Be it resolved by the legislature of the state of Utah, the governor concurring therein, whereas, as highlighted in SCR 9, concurrent resolutions recognizing the importance of Utah's sport and Olympic legacy efforts, the state of Utah values the experience of Salt Lake City hosting the 2002 Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games and the long-term importance of sports and the Olympic legacy in Utah. Whereas Utah is recognized as the state of sport and continues to make major investments in sport with the Utah Sports Commission, the Utah Olympic Legacy Foundation, along with many other key partners who are helping drive Utah's Olympic legacy and sports activities by hosting hundreds of major Olympic and non-Olympic sporting events, training, and other activities at world-class venues since the 2002 Games. Whereas Utah continues to actively partner with and support the mission and charter of the United States Olympic Committee, the International Olympic Committee, and many other partners who are helping Utah enhance its sport and Olympic legacy. Whereas because of Utah's and Salt Lake City's excellence in hosting the 2002 Games and the hosting of many major national, international sporting events since 2002, extraordinary sport and institutional knowledge exists in Utah. You can tell this is written by the legislature, can't you? It's really long.
This is one of the short ones, Governor.
Every syllable is important here. Whereas, due to the high level of the Utah's Olympic legacy and ongoing sports efforts, venues, and institutional knowledge, Utah and Salt Lake City are favorably positioned to host another Olympic and Paralympic Winter Game, and can say with confidence that they are ready, willing, and able to host the Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games again and to warmly welcome back the world. Isn't that kind of cool? Whereas an exploratory committee was formed October 17th of 2017 by Utah's public leaders to begin the process of carefully examining hosting the 2026 and 2030 Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games. I said it wrong earlier. 2026 and 2030 Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the legislature of the state of Utah, the governor concurring, therein supports and encourages the Olympic Exploratory Committee and the committee's hard work to determine whether the Salt Lake City and Utah can host a future Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games on budgets and can conduct excellent games. Be it further resolved that the legislature and governor strongly support Utah's and Salt Lake City's hosting of a 2026-2030 Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games should the opportunity present itself to bid again. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to the International Olympic Committee, the United States Olympic Committee, the Utah Sports Commission, the Utah Olympic Legacy Foundation, the Governor's Office of Economic Development, the Utah State Chamber of Commerce, and members of Utah's congressional delegation. And so with that, I know there's going to be a time appropriate to sign. Are we going to do that now?
Yeah, we're going to do that now.
Okay, I can handle that.
We're going to ask all
And that's
of
one
our
of the shorter
OEC members
resolutions.
to come down.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So now we're going to invite everybody down. We're all going to come down.
Yes, we'd now like to hear from our great Senate President, Wayne Niederhauser, who has been a steadying and great influence through this entire process. I don't know how you do it all with everything you've got going on. You still have time for this, and you've been just fantastic in your help and leadership in this effort. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fraser, and it's an amazing experience to be here today. 20 years ago, if I thought I'd be in a position to be here involved in this, I just never could have dreamed of that. And so I just feel very appreciative. I want to thank, first of all, my co-chairs who have worked so hard. I get distracted with the things that are happening here on Capitol Hill. And as you can imagine, you read in the press some of the things and some of the issues that we deal with. And so it takes 100% of my time, and so I've had to rely on these great co-chairs, Fraser and Jeff, and I appreciate them very much. And I appreciate the mayor, who's been a leader here in this process, and the governor and the speaker. It takes us together to make this happen, and to happen well. And I am so amazed at the experience and the ability of those who have worked so hard to put this document together. Let's give these folks a hand. Now, I'm a CPA by profession, so a lot of this is not very boring, or it would be very boring to me, but the numbers are exciting. And I trust these numbers because it's the experience that has put these together. This isn't the first time we're taking on the Olympics. We know what it takes. We know what it's going to cost. And the numbers that are in this are very conservative as far as the revenue is concerned. And we can put these on we can put the games on in a very, doing it very well with probably better than anybody in the world and in the most economical manner. So we are in a position. Utah's brand is winter sports. And regardless of whether we get the Olympics, the legislature is committed to maintain that brand, that we continue to be the state of sport in North America and one of the centers in the world where Olympians train, where the associations are located. That's what we are, and that's what we want to stay. We want to be in that position for the future and be ready, willing, and able when those opportunities come to us to do the Olympics. So again, thanks to everyone, and thanks to the board members for the support that we have. This is a community support, and I suspect that with the community behind us, that we will put on even better games in 2030. So we're going to go now to the recommendations, and I'm going to read the recommendations, and then I'm going to be willing to take a motion to approve. So this is an official board meeting, and take a motion to approve this document, and then from there we'll be on our way. The recommendations are, for number one, Salt Lake City should pursue hosting the Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games in 2030, given the significant value and opportunity in hosting the games. Number two, should the USOC decide to engage in the 2026 candidature process and select Salt Lake City as an interested city prior to March 31st, 2018, we encourage Utah's leadership to consider next steps, including supporting the formation of a candidature committee to pursue this opportunity. Those are the recommendations, and it's backed up with a lot of data and information in this report. So, board, willing to entertain a motion.
I think Spence.
Should we have
You
Spence?
want to make a motion?
Spence Eccles, I'll recognize you.
I'd like to move the long version of the resolution.
We have a motion to approve, and we have a second to that motion from Al Mansell. I'll place that is there any discussion, first of all? I guess we have, that's appropriate. I don't see any discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? That motion passes, and we also, Frazier, have a proxy vote from Korea.
From Korea. This is from Noelle Pace, who is in Korea right now welcoming U.S. Olympians. And she was a silver medalist. She's a World Cup champion, a wonderful ambassador from our state. Here's what she says from Korea just an hour ago. I am voting an enthusiastic yes to move forward with the OEC report, and I am very grateful to all those who have worked so diligently to put together such a solid and detailed report. Having such a knowledgeable and passionate committee is an incomparable benefit to the state of Utah. Thanks for all of your hard work, dedication, and commitment. Sincerely, Noelle.
Congratulations to us all.